I know I said I was gonna have my setup ready by now, but there's a good chance I'm gonna keep procrastinating until I get uncomfortable. I've been in a very good mood lately. I've spent this summer traveling and having a good time with my friends, and I also have a very special announcement coming very soon, so be on the lookout for any new info from me. But most importantly, I've spent this summer watching Love Island. Everyone knows that summertime is Love Island season, so what kind of a person would I be if I didn't make a video gathering and sharing my thoughts with you all? I wouldn't say I'm an OG watcher. I started really watching for real last season for UK and the US, and previous seasons for UK I was more of a casual watcher, just an episode here or there. But this season was the season I was fully tuned in. Nothing else mattered. And you know what? Let's play the intro again just for fun. I saw a tweet that said that this was a terrible season of Love Island, but an excellent season of reality TV, and I have to agree, I was thoroughly entertained. I want y'all to also see this tweet for yourselves because it is one of the funniest exchanges I've ever seen in my life. The first tweet says, "This is a doo-doo garbage season of Love Island, but an excellent season of reality TV," and someone commented, "What does DDG have to do with Love Island?" And I fell to my knees when I saw this. So we're gonna have a fun time talking through this season. I'll give my thoughts on everything and everyone, and we'll discuss very important episodes this season because it was a lot. I'm gonna first start with the people of this season. Anyone I don't talk about just wasn't important enough to me to mention, and at one point we had 20 plus people in the villa, so excuse me if I have priorities. Okay, let's get started. I've always gotta have my signature laptop cam edits in here because I always have something new to say. Before we actually get started, I just wanna say that I did record this video before everyone was released into the real world and actually talking to us, and so much has happened since then, it's insane. I'm really only talking the ins and outs of what happened on the show here, and I try to do it in a very lighthearted manner because there was a period of time where everything just felt so dark, and I just try to add any light of mine into the world in any way that I can. It's just really disheartening and infuriating how Chelly and Olandria have been treated online for weeks, but even more since being out of the villa, and even though it doesn't surprise me that Black women are being vilified, it just hurts my heart so much. And the information that Huda came out with about the abuse she received from her father and people using that trauma as like an argument with each other, it's all just way too much. So all I will say, and I always try to do my part with this, is to always spread positivity, not hate, but to also spread accountability. And to the Islanders that have said very weird things in interviews or even moving weird in the real world, you'll get yours eventually. Okay, back to our discussion of the show. Okay, first I'm going to start with Huda. Huda is a 24-year-old mother, and she makes that very known to literally everyone.
You know, I'm a mommy.
You're a mom?
I am a mom.
Oh my god, hold on, let me pull.
I am neither a Huda supporter nor a Huda hater. I felt very neutral about her most times. Huda is a lot at times. She's very emotional, crying like all the time. She can also be a very questionable friend and just quite embarrassing at times. I'm gonna be honest, I found her quite insufferable about 75% of the time, but as more time went on, she stopped immediately bothering me and I kind of just lived with it. I made the executive decision to remove any feelings I had for her because anytime I wanted to forgive the chaos and wreckage she ensued, she would just do something else. She had a tendency of lashing out at very odd moments, specifically episode 13 when her and Jeremiah were having their weekly tiff and she called him a among many other things. Were the things coming out of her mouth somewhat correct? Yes. But the execution wasn't. It seemed that anything or anyone involving Jeremiah would just cause a rage within her, where she would just act very erratic and say very odd things.
I think she's messy. I think she's messy. I don't like her. I just already don't like her. I don't like her. I don't think she's nice. I think that she has ulterior motives, and I just don't with it.
Her interactions with new bombshells that entered was concerning at most times, considering she didn't know them at all and everyone was getting very tired. She was getting into multiple beefs with half the villa at times, including the people that she would be coupled up with. I don't think there was a singular episode this season where she wasn't getting whacked left and right. It kind of gets to a point. In terms of the social hierarchy of the villa, she was climbing down the ranks every single week from her daily antics, even all the way up to the finale, so I have to applaud the consistency. Okay, next up is Chelly. Chelly, Michelle, Mrs. Obama. I love her. From the very first episode, I knew me and Chelly would be like this. There's a reason why I have my head wrap on today. I want to be just like her. Chelly is chic, charismatic, and very cool. She loves a good love triangle. She stayed in one at all times. She was leaving here with something. The very first one was her, Ace, and Austin, which was just Austin complaining about being in a triangle the entire time. Then it was Austin versus Charlie. Thank God that didn't go on for very long. Could you imagine the trauma I would have endured if this guy kept getting more screen time? And lastly, it was Chris versus Ace, which also didn't last for that long, but I appreciated the change in scenery. Chelly is the girl everyone wants to be. She plays ping pong with the boys, gossips with the girls, and has multiple men making her breakfast. I just have to stand. For the most part, she's very easy breezy cover girl, but when she gets heated, everyone in the villa better pay attention.
You know what? I know you're upset with me. Wait. I think, actually, tomorrow we can have a chat. Because tonight, I don't want to have a chat.
This damn near caused World War III, and she wasn't even yelling. Okay, next up is the other half of the iconic duo, Olandria. I also stan her because I love Black excellence. She's articulate, calm, cool, collected, and just a great time. I love her. I hated that she spent 85% of her time in Fiji with a loser that didn't have the backbone to let her go and prosper. We'll get to you later. When I saw her on my screen, it made me evaluate how I was sitting at all times. Her posture is just so good. Now that hurts my back too much. Was she like a pageant girl or something? Because I've never seen such queen behavior. She too was going very far in life after the show. She had kind of a rough go with love on the island. Firstly with Taylor, who I'll save my lashings for in a bit. Then the country gentleman Jalen. He felt like someone we've all met at a party or a barbecue. Just a regular guy. I liked him. And finally Nick, which took quite some time, and we'll discuss them more later. But she is top 3 on my client list. I will forever support her. She's the Bama Barbie for a reason. Okay, next up is Amaya. Amaya is the people's princess. I am so glad that everyone adores her. She is bubbly, energetic, and has a heart of gold. There was never a time where she wasn't concerned about someone else's well-being, and I just love her. She's my #1 girl. But what I also appreciate about her is that she is not the one to be played with. She will and has gone off on people that tried to mess with her, and I loved it every single time. Episode 8, when she went off on Ace for being a weirdo, was just music to my ears.
Hold on. You kept on making it a broad statement.
You're not gonna cut me off.
You kept on making it a broad statement. You kept on saying
everything that you're saying right now. Everything that you're saying.
But the time she did it to Zach had me smiling for days on end.
You're an extremely odd individual, and I do not want to talk to you ever again.
It's fine.
Off.
Goodbye. See you later.
Shut the up.
She's from New York and they thought they could try her? Don't piss me off. And to finish off the girls, lastly is Sierra. Obviously, we need to start with her being kicked off the show for using a slur, which was for sure the right thing to do. But what I do not and will not condone is the constant harassment her and her family have been getting. Don't be weird. Just keep your opinions on Twitter and TikTok and just go on about your day. Outside of that, I was just very indifferent to her. I liked her outfits. None of the bombshells moved me so much that I want to do a whole section on them, except for maybe Andreina and Jalen, but I also didn't have any quarrels with them either. The only one I have personal beef with is Zach. You and your chompers, when I catch you, yeah, count your days. First up is Ace. Ace is someone I feel very conflicted about because on one hand, I don't like him, but on the other, I respect the method to his madness. I did not like him because he single-handedly caused the trauma that Amaya went through in the villa and did nothing to stop it, starting from episode 8. He told Amaya not to touch him, breathe near him, better yet, don't look at me, after choosing to couple up with her. And from that day, I was preying on his downfall. One thing I do applaud him for is that he ruled that place with an iron fist. Nothing fell out of place with him around. He got the boys up very early to cook breakfast for the girls.
Come on, Nick. Let's go. Come on, get in the kitchen right now. I need some help in the making breakfast. Let's go.
Guided them on planning dates and gave relationship advice. Would I personally get advice from a TikTok dancer born in 2003? No. But not everything's about me. Ace was a demon sent to wreak havoc on the villa, and he did a phenomenal job at it. His mission was to get rid of his arch nemesis Jeremiah, break up his relationship, and he did not stop till he finished the job. He took every opportunity to tell Jeremiah he hates him in as many different ways he could think of, and it was hilarious every single time.
Who kissed me?
Okay.
You gonna leave me hanging, God?
Okay, so who's it?
I'm saying.
Okay, so you know it wasn't Bella.
And his girl ain't get up.
So Chelly.
But it's two other people, right?
Who?
So Chelly, Bombshell, and it's one other person. The only two other girls left is mine and yours.
Are you saying one of ours got up?
Yes.
I mean, she said she didn't, but...
He also seemed to have a very big issue with Huda, and he made that very clear. Why would you say that? Once he stopped terrorizing the island and started focusing on him and Chelly's relationship, my disdain for him became very low after a while, so he was no longer enemy number one. Next up is Jeremiah. I also have very mixed feelings about Jeremiah because on one hand, he was very annoying because he had terrible communication skills, but on the other, he was made for TV. His facial reactions to messy situations were just so funny to me. It was very telling that he no longer wanted to be with Huda after finding out she was a mom because he can barely take care of himself, which is fine, but he kept dragging her along, which is such loser behavior. After him and Huda officially split, we saw him be more goofy and social, which I did enjoy, and that's when I finally realized he's just a tall 10-year-old kid that's a little weird, but I still find him very annoying. One of my favorite scenes with him is episode 8 when the gang is all at the fire pit and the boys are harassing him again for his relationship with Huda. So he's obviously upset and Huda notices this and asks him what's wrong. And instead of saying something, he does this.
Hey, what's wrong? You okay?
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm sorry, this isn't a mature response at all, but it's just so funny. I kid you not, I've been doing this for weeks now. I can't stop. Jeremiah falls somewhere in the middle in terms of favorites for me. He's not likable, but he's also not evil. So next up is Taylor. Now here's a guy I actively did not like. He pissed me off in a way that very few people can. First of all, I hate how he kisses. It bothers me on a deep fundamental level and I never want to see it again. He clearly did not like Olandria and showed that in many ways, specifically by telling Ace the physical attraction wasn't there with her.
Yeah, something there, but it's just like, if the physical attraction there, the physical attraction there. If it's not there, it's not there. Like, I don't even know how to even get that physical attraction.
Why is that, Taylor? Quickly. Why is that? I'm not trying to be the colorism police, but the evidence is very damning. Send him to jail. But then all of a sudden, when Jalen the bombshell came in to steal her, he wasn't having it. So he was more affectionate and communicative and it worked. Up until Clark came in and he pretty much threw Olandria to the wolves. I did find it annoying that Olandria still wanted him after that, but I'll give her a little bit of grace. She was being fed scraps in there. The moment I specifically needed him to leave was episode 20 when he jumped over Olandria to get to Nick after he came back from being dumped. That is absolutely crazy to me. And we all as a collective put our differences aside and voted him out. Well, we at least tried. Each time we were so close to getting Taylor out of the villa, the Islanders would save him every time, and it drove me insane. When he finally did leave, it felt anticlimactic to me. Like, yes, I got what I wanted, but I wanted him gone weeks prior, so it didn't feel like a true victory to me. Okay, next up is Nick. He is a harlot, but is he fun to watch? Absolutely. He was Twitter's White Boy of the Month for 2 months straight. I think we should applaud that. Nick is very charismatic, goofy, and a good ear to rant to. But he is also the messiest person on the villa. He loves to stir the pot just for fun. His love journey was interesting to watch because it was going in different directions like all the time. At first, it was him and Bella at the very beginning of the season, and then he ended up choosing Sierra afterwards, and they ended up becoming the main lovers for most of the show, and then it ended with him and Olandria. Out of all the boys, he was my personal favorite, but everyone else sucked, so that's not saying much. Moving on to the Casa boys, first up is Brian. I felt very conflicted watching Brian because I really want to like him, but something in my spirit is telling me to tread very lightly. He's very giggly, always has a smile on his face, and loves to joke around. His time in the villa was very short since he did come in as a Casa boy. I wouldn't say he made his mark on the season per se, but he was one of the chosen few that stayed till the finale, so that's gotta count for something. And finally, we have Chris. I feel like I could say a lot, but then people would be very concerned for my well-being, so I'm gonna keep it very short. Chris has absolutely no emotions. I'm not even trying to joke when I say this. I don't think I saw his face change once since he entered the villa. That goes for his voice too. I hate his voice. Like, where's the inflection?
To like that deeper point in our connection, like you expressing to me like about your background and like your daughter. And
is he happy, sad, annoyed, tired? I can't tell. There's just something about him that bothers me deep to my core. I don't know if it was his dreams about basketball or the fact that he's one of the most annoying people I've ever seen on TV. Was he really here to find love? I don't think so. He looked like he wanted to go home. And how could I forget in episode 26 when the Islanders asked him the exact same question and he gave us this?
I can give up less. I could be overseas playing ball right now.
Would you really, Chris? Because if it was so important, why aren't you training? Outside of his relationship with Huda, which was a natural disaster all on its own, Chris is just annoying, which is probably the nicest insult I could give him. The drama was such a core part of this season. The audience nor the people on the island were concerned with finding love. That was not our priority here. By episode 2, I knew this season was no longer serious because one of the contestants, Yulissa, got kicked off the villa. And the way they did it was just so comical because I don't think anyone noticed for about 10 minutes until we realized she was no longer on our screen. I would say the other big thing was the concept of Ace being the main guy on the villa and just running things with the help of his goons Taylor and Nick. It did look like after some time the concept of their group was more on the friendship side and everyone was hanging out with their own kind of people rather than terrorizing the villa after a while, so it was still fun to watch. We also have to discuss Amaya constantly being bullied by the boys for crying a lot and calling people babe. I mean, God forbid she's a sensitive gangster. She can't cry. It was interesting how everyone turned tables after they found out she was the people's princess and now they really liked the emotional side of her. Yeah. That was interesting. But the biggest thing was definitely Huda and Jeremiah's turmoil of a relationship. And yeah, them together was very just annoying and irritating to watch, but it seemed like Huda was enemy number 1 on that island from episode 1 to 36. I do think it was with good reason. There was the constant nagging with new bombshells.
Iris moves so weird to me. You think so? Yes. She hides everything from the damn get-go. She's over here, I'm a girl's girl. No,
and certain things she said just wouldn't make any sense. Would it be better if I was ugly? Well, No. Drama was probably at its highest during the heart rate challenge, and it was fine at first, except there was this terrible kiss from Taylor. I was suffering. And when it came to Ace and Chelly's turn, she kissed Chris a couple of times during the challenge, and Ace was a little heated about it. But what makes this episode crazy is Chris and Huda tag teaming Ace and Chelly, but Huda seemed to do something to Ace that had everyone flabbergasted. And Chelly was pretty much done with her. So Chelly and Ace ended up arguing about her kissing Chris, and Chelly and Huda avoided each other at all times. It was bad. But what made the drama of this season unlike any other was the discussions online. It was a part of the season 7 viewing experience. It's not enough for you to watch the show. You need to be on TikTok and Twitter after every episode for discussions. The last time we were this connected as a society was probably Euphoria Sundays, and I loved it. This is what a real community looks like. Well, it was fun until the new viewers just made everything weird. The internet talk was fun at first, but then people took things too far by harassing families, leaving hate comments, being racist specifically to Olandria and Chelly. I didn't forget Time magazine, and even going as far as hacking social media accounts. All of this was very weird, and I hope y'all get fired from your jobs, expelled from your schools, and just get labeled as a loser for the rest of your lives. This was supposed to be a fun little show for the summer, not the Psycho Olympics. But when the discourse was purely fun and chaos, we had a time. The Olandria stans ruled the internet. They were going to be heard. There were so many fan edits of them and the conspiracy theories of how they were going to get together and how they were yearning for each other and they were long lost lovers. And how could I forget the pure hatred for Jeremiah and Huda? It got so bad that we chose to separate them for our sole entertainment. That's how badly everyone hated them. Let's talk about the couples now, which probably took up about 25% of the show. It was not the main priority. It was quite bad. Starting with Huda and Jeremiah. They should have never been together. It was madness from the very start. They were super into each other in the beginning and didn't want anyone else. And that ended up being their downfall because everyone else on the villa was tired of them. Huda made it known to all the girlies that Jeremiah was hers and no one could have him or get to know him, and since they were her sisters, they should respect that. And everyone got very tired of her and Jeremiah. They argued, whined, and brought everyone into their business. But that backfired because they got separated by the public and were never able to find their way back. I personally felt very drained watching them interact, and I was glad that they broke up. And I would like to think that we did them a favor, and when they separated, they went on to flourish and be good people. But that's not how life works. Okay, next is Ace and Chelly. They were just a power couple, I fear. From the very first episode, they locked eyes and knew that they wanted each other because they met in NYC before the show, so it was almost like fate. They took a long time getting together because Ace wanted to be an explorer and get to know everyone in the villa, and Chelly was tired. But eventually, they locked in and never left each other's side. I wouldn't call it true love yet. Let's give it a couple more months. You know what they had that the other couples didn't? Influence. So I have to stand a bit. I didn't care that much for Ace, but I loved Chelly, so if she liked it, I loved it. He did go above and beyond to make her feel wanted, so I eventually liked seeing them together because I'll always support love. But the fact that they didn't make it into the finale after they closed off put me into a spiral that I still haven't recovered from, and I will never forgive y'all for it. I need names of the people that voted and the percentages for each couple because how did this happen? Next up is Nick and Sierra. I felt very indifferent to them. I was neither a supporter nor a hater. Their journey was fairly straightforward. Sierra was a bombshell and caught his eye, and they were attached at the hip at all times. What did annoy me most about them is that they acted like they were the it couple and had absolutely no decorum. They were constantly having sex in the room with a million different people in there, and they felt no shame about it. What really pissed me off was the episode of the Standing on Business Challenge, and everyone pointed it out, and Sierra said they were celebrating. Don't piss me off, but something about them I just couldn't get behind, and once she left, it pretty much ended for them, so that's that. Next is Taylor and Olandria. It feels like an insult to call them a couple because there was no love here. not even alike. They caught each other's eye pretty early and they got on great. But there was just always something off with them, and it started with Taylor telling Ace that he wasn't really feeling her like that. And it was just never-ending situations where he looked like he would rather be with literally anyone else. And the only time he showed any sort of likeness or affection was when bombshell Jalen came in and threatened his spot in the villa. So he planned some dates, gave some kisses, and Jalen was gone within 3 business days. But then Casa came. Normally that is the most entertaining part of the show, but here I just had to silently suffer. Clark came in and locked in with Taylor, and it was over from there. But did he make that clear to Olandria? No, because he's a loser. But luckily, Olandria finally came to her senses and she left him alone. And that brings me to Taylor and Clark. I say all this with no beef with Clark. She's all right with me, but I was preying on their downfall. Clark deserves an NBA player, not a cowboy with a black toe. Anytime I saw them together, I booed very loudly. I needed them to go home, and eventually, I got what I wanted. But I needed some kind of humiliation ritual for him because he's currently happy and I can't have that. Next up is Amaya and Brian. They were a very late couple to the show, literally within the last week and a half of the entire season, but they were in my top 4. I loved watching them together. They were very goofy and quirky together, and it was just a good time watching them. And considering Amaya went through hell on that island, I just wanted someone that would make her laugh and brighten her day, and Brian seems to be the one doing that, so he'll forever get some cool points from me. They never went through any serious issues, which clearly helped because they ended up winning the entire show. I wish them both well, and may the 50K serve them amazingly. Okay, next we have Huda and Chris. Oh Lord. Where to start? Them together was like a really bad car accident that you just can't look away from because you just have to see what happens next. Their relationship was pretty much doomed from the start because they started off kind of messy. He came in from Casa and wanted Chelly at first, but Huda also thought he was cute, and Chelly didn't really chase him all that much, so he gave up and went for Huda. Even though it later became very clear that he did not like her. He borderline hated her. There were multiple times where they would have a semi-argument that was so uncomfortable to watch, but mostly because both of them would be so annoying about it. There was the time they were watching the babies and the boys were acting a fool per usual, and Huda got upset that Chris was roughhousing with their baby, so he told her to shut up, and she demanded an explanation.
What are you doing?
Huh?
What is wrong with you?
What you mean?
Why are you ripping shit off her head while she's screaming?
She's not even crying. That's not my baby.
And ours didn't cry not once?
Not one time on my mama.
Okay, next time, don't be ripping shit off of her.
Next time, don't be like, I don't like that color.
I was playing around.
Oh, well,
don't tell me shut up.
It's things like these that make great TV, but dang, they were suffering. There was also the time when they were being very intimate with each other and Huda didn't like PDA outside in front of everyone and Chris was pissed. So they kept arguing with each other, going in circles until they hated each other. And the thing is, it started off somewhat good with them, so how did we get here? But all of this has absolutely nothing on the final episode of the season. The finale is supposed to be full of love, amazing final dates, and a season finale winner, but instead, we got this.
I might be 3 seconds. I'm dead ass. 3, 2. Oh my god, bro. This is so weird. Oh my god. You're not good with me. It's worse. We make it tomorrow. That's the kind of making, so congratulations.
They probably should have ended things a week ago, but no. Instead, they decided the best time to break up would be on their final date together. And that would have been fine if not for the terrible interaction at the very end.
Do you want to carry me on your walk?
Why are you crying?
This is hard.
You should make your decision.
No. Like, walk in the water?
I think what makes this peak television was the lady coming out to sing at the very end. How are these people real? Next up is Nick and Olandria. This is an unpopular opinion, but I am not a Nick and Olandria stan. Don't shoot. There was just something about them I just couldn't like fully get behind. I really can't explain it. And I knew I was one of the very few people on the planet that felt this way, and I was willing to stand 10 toes down on this hill. But then the propaganda eventually got to me and I ended up liking them. Seeing the daily fan cam edits and the long think pieces dissecting Nick's body language at the sight of her was some serious detective and editing skills, so I was very impressed. So who am I to deny people that love yearners? But the internet lost their minds when they kissed for the first time after being coupled up. This was life-changing for many, and people have not been the same since then. After Sierra left, they finally let their hair down and focused on each other, and it was really beautiful to see. It also helped that Nick's family were 100% rooting for them. The collective family dinners together are going to be very entertaining. They were definitely the couple that everyone cared about the most. I think my favorite tweets involved people saying Nick automatically looked so much more attractive standing right next to Olandria. And I have to agree, I didn't forget this disaster, sir. What was the reason? I would still like to know. Notice how I didn't talk about Iris and Pepe? It's because I don't care. They're also one and the same to me. It was giving go ahead girl, give us nothing. So wish them well. There were so many memorable scenes and episodes. This season was truly TV excellence. We will never get this level of debauchery and chaos ever again. Episode 13 was pure cinema. I wish I could watch it again for the first time. This was the first voting ceremony by the public to put Islanders with the new bombshells that came in. So the public ended up putting Hannah and Pepe together, which separated her and Charlie after they just revealed their feelings for each other. And Olandria and Jalen also got coupled up, making Charlie and Taylor single, which made me very, very happy. But what makes this episode a top one is Jeremiah and Huda finding out how much America hates them when Iris was voted to be coupled up with Jeremiah. Huda was losing her mind and was very confused. Ace was laughing because he found this whole thing hilarious. Everyone was looking at each other all confused, but the look Charlie and Taylor gave each other is TV gold. This episode was pure chaos and treachery. You couldn't make this kind of thing up. The most iconic part of the episode is when the Islanders have to vote off someone for the first time and everyone is in tears. Amaya is sobbing for dear life.
No, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that though.
And Ace is looking at people like they're crazy. And my favorite part is Charlie pleading his case to stay on the island.
I just want to say,
No, are you dead ass right now?
We all thought he was gonna sacrifice himself. Nope. He was giving his testimony. So everyone gave their votes and Ace and Nick ended up voting for Huda. But Charlie got the most votes from everyone and was sent home, and Hannah runs into his arms in distress. 10 out of 10 performance. I have no notes here. But this had absolutely nothing on episode 18. This was another episode where the Islanders had to vote people off, but this time it was one boy and one girl. The boys were announcing who they wanted to vote off, and Jeremiah clocked that they were talking about him before they ever even said his name. I think he should have known that when the three of them got together, he should have started packing his bags immediately. The boys were in the room trying to salvage their friendship with him, and Jeremiah was not having it. And Ace said this to him.
We made this decision, all right? No, I'm dead ass. I want you to know that nothing's personal. That's just something.
Meanwhile, on the other side of things, Hannah was ugly girl crying, and the girls were trying to talk to her about their decision, and she was also not having it. But then they all just had to take photo booth pictures with one another. Huda has a last heart-to-heart with Jeremiah and tries to kiss him goodbye, but he kept it cute. I would definitely put this episode in the top 5. There was also episode 20 and 21, which was part of the Casa arc. Both Nick and Olandria got dumped from Casa because no one chose them, and Chelly was bawling her eyes out because her bestie bestie was now leaving the villa, and Huda falls to her knees in distress. She couldn't take it. But it was all okay because we got a scene of them driving off together in a car. The next episode, they went on a date together and was given a chance to recouple, and they took it. The date was clearly fan service because everyone was obsessed with them, but clearly it worked. But the craziest episode to me was episode 26. You can't make this kind of episode. It just comes with talent and terrible people. The specific part of this episode I'm referring to is the standing on business challenge. All the boys took this opportunity to bully Amaya instead of telling it to her face when she would specifically ask them, and it got so much that she ended up crying and running off. This was all very traumatic and very sad for her, but at least we got an amazing quote here. "I'm just not your cup of tea to be drinking, so don't drink it." Oh, that's a New York bestseller right there. Give her many awards for that. Drama was so insane here. Chelly was still mad at Huda for doing too much with Ace and moving weird with Chris. And Olandria spilled the beans on Huda and Chris kissing, which shook Huda. And she goes off because she thinks everyone hates her. It was bad. And Austin used this challenge to try calling out Ace for being a ringleader and was absolutely annihilated by him.
Just because I have the balls to say that doesn't mean, oh, Ace is a hater. One of us out of the two is 6'5" and one of us is 5'10" and has the balls to say shit around here, because I have some heart. You don't.
Seeing Austin get his lashings was very fun to me, but then they brought Amaya into it, and when she was rightfully upset about it, Austin threw rocks at her.
Got sent home, and why does
I
that matter?
that. This was a chance to air stuff out, Amaya.
All right.
Do you not understand what a chance to air
No,
stuff
I
out is?
understand
Because I
what
was
that
airing
is. You
stuff
don't
out.
need to interpret that for me. I understand that.
Okay.
But what I'm
Well,
saying
it
is
doesn't
that
seem like you do.
no, I understand that. Don't be disrespectful to me like that.
Austin, I know what you are, and you won't get away with it. This was also the episode when everyone realized that Zach was a loser. He also took the opportunity to use this challenge to share his grievances with Amaya in front of the boys for cool points instead of talking to her privately when she asked him, and I will never forgive him for that. Luckily, Brian was the only one with sense that actually stood up for her, so at least we got one good thing from this challenge. The most excellent point of this episode was Olandria finally yelling at Taylor for the loser he is. But then Taylor had to ruin my fun time by pretending everyone was attacking him and chose Clark again.
Well, since y'all want me making my mind right now, I pick Clark.
But I would say my favorite part of this season was definitely the friendships. While I did like the sisterhood of the girls, well, I really like Chelly and Olandria because they were just an iconic duo. There was just something about the boys. They were so fun to watch together. This was a true ensemble cast. Give the boys their own show. Anyways, those are my thoughts on Love Island Season 7, and I had an interesting time watching it. I think it's a pretty accurate representation of how the dating world is for us Gen Z kids. I kind of look at this season as a social experiment of some sort, which means we are all doomed. I don't know if I will watch next season because it caused me irreparable trauma and I need time to heal. But I had a really fun time talking to all of you about it, and I hope you had a good time too. If you agree or for some reason disagree with anything I said, I don't know why you would. Please comment it down below, but please, let's keep it civil, guys. This season was traumatic enough. I really want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Mwah. Bye.